This week, the war in Ukraine will complete 5 months. When it began, it was expected to be a swift conflict. Experts said Kiev will fall within days. Well, days passed, then weeks, and now months. Kiev has not fallen, and Russia has not won. It's a war of attrition now. Ukraine has suffered serious losses. Russia has faced repeated setbacks. Russian advances were halted, but their forces regrouped. And now Russia is planning a major offensive. Vladimir Putin wants to extend and expand this war. Tonight we'll tell you about his plans. First, let's take a look at where Russian forces are right now. This is the map of Ukraine. The region in red is eastern Ukraine. Russian forces are in complete control of this region, and now they're spreading out. 5 months into the conflict, Russia is not done. It wants to take more territory. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has given an interview. He says the Russian military wants to go beyond eastern Ukraine.
Peace talks with Ukraine don't make any sense in the current situation. They simply will never be able to articulate anything that would deserve the serious attention of serious people. We've already figured that out. The geography is different now. It is not only about the DNR and NNR, but also the Kherson region and many other territories. And this process is continuing consistently and persistently.
So Russia says peace talks with Ukraine make no sense. They want to keep fighting. What are their next targets? Let's go back to the map of Ukraine. The Kremlin wants to focus on southern Ukraine now, more specifically the cities of Kherson and Zaporizhia. Why these two territories? Let's zoom out. Now, what else do you see? Donetsk and Luhansk, they make up the Donbas region. Russia already has a tight control over these two territories. It now wants to take Kherson and Zaporizhia. They fall right next to the Donbas region. So Russia wants to annex this massive patch of land, this huge piece of land. It wants complete control in the east and the south. And it's getting more ambitious with its military operation. If Russia achieves this, it will mark a fundamental shift in the Ukraine story. It would permanently end the possibility for peaceful end to the war. Ukraine fears this. It has been warning about a major Russian offensive. And the US is now making the same assessment.
These comments to us only further demonstrate that Russia is moving toward the annexation that we've warned about. And they serve as a reminder of the ultimate purpose and objective of Russia's illegal, unjustified war against Ukraine. Despite what we heard in the run-up to this war is nothing more than a war of territorial conquest.
A war of territorial conquest. That's how America described Russia's annexation plans. The US says Moscow is already laying the groundwork. Russian troops are already present in all 4 regions: Kherson, Zaporizhia, Donetsk and Luhansk. What else is Russia doing? It is said to be installing proxy officials. Reports say Russia could announce a referendum in these areas, a vote to show that people here want to be part of Russia. The US says this vote will be a sham and that Moscow will use it to justify its annexation. That's not all. Moscow is also trying to set up branches of Russian banks in the region. Reports say it is trying to take control of broadcasting towers and establish security services loyal to the Kremlin. They're also issuing Russian passports to Ukrainians and encouraging locals to apply for Russian citizenship. And a lot of this is already happening. Look at these pictures. They're from Zaporizhia. Yesterday, Russia hosted a ceremony in Enerhodar. Reports say Russian forces captured the city and then locals were given Russian passports. How many of them? At least 25 in this round. More Russian passports could be issued in the coming days. And all of this is making Ukraine nervous. It is urging the international community to step up. President Volodymyr Zelensky says Western sanctions are not enough.
The
7th sanctions package of the European Union is in the final stage of approval. Its elements have already been announced, including a ban on the import of Russian gold. But this is not enough, and I frankly tell my partners about it. Russia must feel a much higher price for the war so that it is forced to seek its peace.
And he's right. Sanctions are not enough. They never are. When was the last time sanctions stopped a war? Also, in this case, the West is already diluting their own sanctions. They're hurting Europe more than Russia. What about military setbacks? CIA Chief William Burns has given an assessment, an estimate. He says Russia has lost at least 15,000 soldiers so far, plus another 45,000 are wounded. But Russia is evidently staying the course. Which brings us back to Ukraine. How are they faring? Fairly well if you ask the top US American general. Mark Milley says Ukrainian forces are making advances and they're trying to win back lost territory.
There is a grinding war of attrition that is occurring in the Luhansk, Donbass region, Luhansk, Donetsk, the two oblasts of Donbass. And to answer your question about is the Donbass lost? No, it's not lost yet. The Ukrainians are making the Russians pay for every inch of territory that they gain. And advances are measured in literally hundreds of meters. Some days you might get a kilometer or two out of the Russians, but not much more than that.
Well, that's what a war of attrition sounds like. But Russia is not done. They're planning a bigger offensive, and Ukraine has no option but to bring more firepower to the battleground. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.